Hello everyone, Maverick Mike here. Ikomo Mike. Come on in. Today we're going to be building a garden and installing step by step a drip irrigation system that I purchased from Home Depot, so let's get to it. Alright, so here's the progress on the garden. This garden actually does run all the way down the side of the house. And we have it roughed in really good right at this point. So I've also laid in some infrastructure here for the irrigation system for the raised garden bed. The white PVC that you see right here is just a protection for this black PVC pipe, which is used in drip irrigation systems. So I'm going to run this black pipe within that white PVC pipe just to protect this thing from punctures. Alright, as you can see, I've disconnected the pipe sections just to make this easier for me to feed through the first time. And then when I put this together, I'm not going to be gluing it together. It doesn't need to be watertight. It just needs to protect this. So now I'm going to pull a lot of this line through and coil it underneath the raised garden so that I have extra, just in case it springs a leak or in case I want to add some additional water outlets as time goes on. Alright, now we're going to install polyethylene sheeting. This is 6mm sheeting, and I'm going to put at least 3 layers, otherwise the weeds pop up through it. And now we're going to go ahead and put the garden on top of these hollow tiles. Alright, that's cool. So these paving stones were once part of someone's lanai. We demoed it and I decided to keep them, and they've been around for a few years, so I thought it would be really great to put these in my wife's garden. So I've backfilled these pavers, and now we're just going to sweep the rocks off into place. So we purchased our first load of a combination of topsoil and compost. It looks really good. It smells really good. And we picked this up from Heart and Soul from Jacob Freeman. So if you need dirt, if you need compost, go see Jacob Freeman at Heart and Soul in Moloa, Kauai. He's a great guy, and he'll hook you up. Fill her up. Premium, please. Now that I have the garden bed filled up about halfway, I'm going to go ahead and put some 10-20-20 tropical fruit and vegetable fertilizer out. Broadcast this around. And now we're going to add a top layer of that 10-20-20 fertilizer. Alright, let's just talk about some of the basic kit that you're going to need to be doing some drip irrigation system work. I just got this plastic box. It has a bunch of different sized bins in it. And within this thing I put all of my connectors, whether they're, regular elbows or connectors, or what is this one? This is a pressure regulator, all of these types of fittings. I'm got my emitters and some plugs and some stakes and various things that you're going to need. So I have this small piece of PVC pipe. I actually bought a 300-foot roll of it about a year ago to do other projects, so I still have some of that laying around. But there's various emitters. There's little elbows. These are adjustable type emitters. And I find that having zip ties of various sizes are really helpful to have around too for holding things in place. I have a hole puncher like this. I have this type. There are cheaper ones out there that are just, you press it in, but I kind of like being able to just stick the hose in there, punch a hole in it like that, and then being able to just say squeeze an emitter or an elbow or whatever I want into this. Just like that, and that's installed. So that's how you'll be installing all your connections, whether it's an elbow like this, or an emitter. Come on. Just like that. They usually snap into place. So really easy to put in. That's how you're going to be putting all of your connectors on there. All of your emitters, all of your elbows, all of your connections. Really easy to do. In addition to that, I have some of this extra 1/4-inch hose over here, so that if I want to, say, put an emitter off of this line, way out here someplace, for a specific plant, I can do it. All right, let's talk about the things that I am going to be using today. I have this digital hose faucet timer. It is the controller that we're going to use. This simple timer here has limited programming functionality. There's some that you can have multiple inlets, multiple outlets, and times that you can program any way you want, basically. But this one is very simple, and so it's limited. So this is the inlet. It's going to go onto the faucet on the house. This is the outlet. From the outlet, it needs to go through a pressure regulator. This one is a 25 psi pressure regulator. And for most people, for most uses, that's what you're going to want. It's just a simple pressure regulator. You can't put complete house pressure through your system to your plants. It is too much pressure. So this cuts the pressure down to 25 psi. Water comes in here. Water comes out here. Water goes through the pressure regulator. And this is going to be what's connecting my hose to the pressure regulator. This is a 3/4-inch swivel adapter. So for these kind of adapters, all you do is you push in the hose until you can't push it in anymore. Then you pull it out a little bit and it will just lock into place. If you can pull it out, something is wrong. Once you push it in, it's going to be locked into place. So they're very fast, they're very easy, they're very simple. You just shove the hose in and forget about it. All right, let's talk about assembling your hose to this type of connector here with a screw-on end. This happens to be a 1/2-inch universal elbow, and the way you assemble these is you take the end cap off here. On the inside here, you'll have a barbed piece. So what you want to do with your end cap here is you want to stick your hose through it, push your barbed piece into the end of the hose, it should be pretty tight, and you butt it up against the end of the piece here. Then you go ahead and set this in and tighten up the screw. It's almost like doing a garden hose. All right, that's nice and tight, and that's the way you do those. Now, if you want to remove the hose from here, say you just made a mistake or you want to make a modification to your system, you're going to have a really hard time getting the hose off of the barb. So just take yourself a razor blade and very gently, without hitting the barb underneath, you want to just make some scratches. You just want to carve down a little bit into the hose. And then pry it apart like this. Then you cut your hose back and then reassemble it however you want. So that's just in case you made an error or you change your mind in how you want to do it. I also happen to have one of these specialty hose cutters. It's not necessary to have this. You can do it with a knife. If you want to buy one, go ahead. But it just makes things a lot easier for me, and it will cut, and it will cut off straight. One thing I wanted to point out about this digital hose faucet timer made by Orbit and purchased at Home Depot is that this thing has a 6-year warranty. So that's really good. 6-year warranty on this thing. All right, looking at this timer, it's really easy to program. I actually like this timer a lot. You just have a rotary dial. So that's the off position. There's an auto position here. There's a clock set position, start time, how long do you want it to run, and how often. So it's easy to install the batteries while this thing is hooked up. However, it's a lot easier to install the batteries prior to that. So let's go ahead and turn this thing over. You can see the battery carrier right here. It takes 2 AA batteries. So you pinch the tabs, you pull it out, you pull this battery carrier out, and this is waterproof. This whole thing is waterproof, so it's really cool. Look at the illustration for the batteries in there. Okay, and you can only put this in one way. You see there's 2 slots right here. It aligns with the slots inside here, so you can't put this battery carrier in backwards or upside down. So I'm going to pull this off right there. All right, let's talk about some features here. We have the plus and minus buttons, and these are used anytime you want to adjust the time or the system setup. Now, anytime you want to run your irrigation system outside of the times that you have set up, you can go ahead and press the manual button and it will automatically turn on, and you can set the amount of time that it will run. Okay, let's go ahead and set the time. Clock set. It's about 5:13 right now, so just hold the button down until you get to about where you want it to stop. There's 3, there's 4, 5. Whoops, I went a little bit too far. 5:14. Okay, that's good. So to save this time setting, just turn the dial. Okay, next we're going to go and do the start time. So I want my start time to be at 8 a.m. 5. Starting off at 5. Let's go. 6, 7. I'm just holding down the button to advance it. Okay. 8 a.m. is my start time, and I want to turn the dial, which automatically saves that start time. All right, now we're going to set how long we want the water to run. So we're just going to move the dial to how long, and let's just say I want it to run for 10 minutes. So this thing, I believe, can go from 1 minute up to 220 minutes or something like that. I don't remember the exact time, but anyway, I just want 10 minutes, so I'm going to be pressing the positive button till I get to 10 minutes. So now let's go ahead and set how often we want this to run. Every 2 days, 3 days. I think I'm just going to set it for 3 days for right now. We can adjust it later on as we see fit. If the plants need more water, we'll add a day or add some time. If they need less water, we'll remove a day or remove some time. Okay. Rotate the dial to off. Once you rotate the dial, you save all the settings. So this is actually very easy to use. And I have one in the other part of the garden, and it's been giving me good service. And that's why I purchased this one again, because of its ease of use, and it seems to be quite solid. We're going to do a dry run on the setup here. This is the inlet, attaches to your faucet. This is the outlet. From your outlet, you want to connect your pressure regulator. And the pressure regulators are usually a little hard to put in. Yeah, try to keep it aligned straight and try to push in while you turn. Okay, so that's on there now. So from here, we're going to put this swivel adapter on here. And as you can see, this swivel adapter has a mesh screen, which is a really good idea to keep junk from clogging up your emitters. So this will go on here. And that will be how it looks with the hose coming out this end over here. So controller, regulator, connector. Let's go ahead and install this on the house. What I am going to do is on the faucet side, I am going to put a Y over here just so that I can also use a regular hose with a nozzle on it. All right, so Y connector, and now timer. Now that you have everything connected, don't over tighten it. Just put it on initially, have everything hooked up, and then once you turn it on, then check for leaks, and where it's leaking, then you just tighten those, because these are just plastic parts and they can strip relatively easily if you are not careful. All right, so I have my PVC hose here. This has been hanging around for quite a while. I've pre-positioned this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this back a little bit to try to get away from the dirty area. Make sure this is clean. Okay, that's a nice clean cut. Now I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in. It's a little hard, so if you twist it and work it in a little bit, it'll go in, but it takes some effort. Okay, so this is my supply hose going to the garden. To install this fitting, I'm going to be drilling a hole right here. I've got a hole saw set up, and the hole saw is smaller than the brown part, but larger than the black part. So we're going to go ahead and drill a hole right here after I put on my favorite tool. All right, so now I'm going to route this through the boat here. I'm going to measure where this needs to come up to. About here. So I'll snip it off right about here. Brown part on first. You'll be kicking yourself in the backside if you don't put that on first. Put the nipple in towards the cut hose. Press it in firmly. Okay, it's seated. Okay, got that put on. And let's go ahead and install this PVC hose in here. So let's take this off. Put this end on the hose. Barbed end goes in this way. Okay, seated. Push that in, screw this on. All right, there is no wrong way to route this. It all depends what you want to accomplish, what plants you want to water, what location they're at. It's very flexible. Just set it up any way you want it. For me, for right now, all I'm going to do is set it up in a circular pattern, and then we'll go from there. Sorry. I'm just going to put a plug on the end of this, but before we put the plug in, we want to go ahead and run water all through the system. We want to let it run for a few minutes, and we want to let any debris that's in the lines anywhere come out, because you don't want them clogging up your emitters. All right, here we are back at the faucet. These are in the off position right now. I want to leave this one off, but I do want to turn this one on. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on the water supply. So we want to go ahead and hit this manual button, and this should turn the system on, and water should begin flowing from our supply all the way through the system. Okay. Okay, there we go. It took a minute for it to click on. but now the water is flowing and it's actually set for 10 minutes of flow right now. All right, here we are at our endpoint, and I'm just going to let it run like this for a few minutes to clear out any debris. All right, all I did was touch the manual button and the water shut off. All right, now I'm going to put this hose plug on, and what's nice about this plug is that you can take it off, and a regular garden hose will fit right on top of that. So just because you plug the end doesn't mean you can't access it and you can't use it. So that's nice. Going to go ahead and put this on here, and this is going to be a bit difficult to put on. Just twist it, use some pressure. There we go. Now it's going in. That should be good. All right, I'm going to be using these long spikes to hold my hose in place. However, you don't have to use this. You can use a stick. You can use some of the really nice ones that they sell for this. It comes in a little U shape. Everything will work. So I'm just going to set this up where I want the hose to be. All right, so here's one of those emitters. This one happens to be brown. They are color coded. If I remember correctly, this is a ½ gallon per hour. You can buy more gallons per hour. You can buy less gallons per hour, I believe. But on average, this is a good size to start off with. All right, so I'm going to put an emitter about here. So on these emitters, you can stick them straight up and down. You can bias them one way, or you can bias them the other. Also, you can rotate the emitter so that the outlet would be more on this side of the hose, or rotate it the other way so that it's watering the other side of the hose. All right, so I wanted this emitter biased towards the middle of the garden, so I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in now. Just plug it in. You'll have to push a little bit and twist at the same time. It helps. There, and you hear it snap, and it's in. So I'm going to be putting these emitters approximately 16 to 18 inches apart for right now, and if we need more, we can put more in later. All right, let's make sure the water supply is turned on, and then we're going to hit the manual button on this controller, and we're going to check for leaks. Okay, so that's fully open. I noticed that when you hit the manual button, it takes a minute to click on. There we go. When you heard that pop, that's when the water started flowing. Okay, I see we have a few little leaks. So we're going to go ahead and tighten up this stuff. Well, this one is leaking right here pretty badly, and it's really tight. So I'm going to turn things off. I'm going to go ahead and get some Teflon tape, and then I'm going to try and put this back on again. We've got the supply off, and we've turned this off. Let's go ahead and disconnect things here. Teflon tape. Try to get rid of some of the dirty stuff here. All right, we only want to put it on the threads. We don't want to get it on this section over here. Alright, once again, be advised that this is really pretty difficult to put on. It requires a little bit of finesse, a little bit of force, but not too much. This one has a rubber washer in it for the connection. This one does not. If this fails again, I'm going to see if I can find a rubber washer from another hose and put that in there. Apply on, hit the manual button. Okay, water is flowing. All right, it's not dripping in my hands, so we're going to call that good for right now. We're going to check the rest of the system for leaks. Okay, the next joint in line is right here, and it's not leaking, and that looks good. Okay, Houston, we do have a little problem. Okay, as you can see, this emitter is not doing what it's supposed to. It is leaking, so either the hole wasn't perfectly symmetrical, or there was some rubbish or something in there. Let's turn this off, try to pull this emitter out, and take a look. Okay, let's pull this emitter out. All right, you may not be able to see it, but the hole that the emitter fit into is not symmetrical. It's got a damaged part on this top side, and we're going to go ahead and cut this right here. We're going to put a connector in here, and then we're just going to put a new emitter in, I don't know, someplace right over here. All right, so here's the coupling I'm going to use to repair this hose right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right here. And I'm also going to take a little bit off the other side, make sure I get past the damaged spot, because I don't know if it's within the hose or not. Force the coupling on. Force the coupling on. Okay, that should be repaired. Let's see how that one looks. Okay, that one looks round and symmetrical. Popped into place. Okay, let's go ahead and turn things back on and continue to check for leaks. Here's our repaired emitter, and there's no leaks. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's just a slight drip coming off the way it's supposed to. So that one's good. Let's install a nice small tool shelf for my wife. Now for the finishing touches. All right, welcome to His Majesty's ship. We are all just stewards of what our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has given us. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.